guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning after. I am your host, Charlene Joint, and today, it's the day. We are recapping Fantasy Suite week of Hannah's season of The Bachelorette, and obviously, there's a lot to unpack, so I'll just get started. As you guys know, I start off with a Starbucks buzziest moment, and this is brought to you by Starbucks Coffee at Home. And this is a moment that stood out to me in some way and that I just want to talk about. And so, I mean, this is not surprising. The Starbucks buzziest moment is obviously, God, I hate being so predictable, but obviously the entire Luke conversation that was had during dinner of his supposed overnight date. Despite being completely spoiled by the previews, this was still completely captivating television. And I loved how Hannah says that she talked about how willing he was to X her off his list for having had sex, yet she listed all the specific things that she could have X'd him off her list over. But most importantly, the buzziest moment is the moment Hannah would not let Luke continue or talk anymore after she had made her decision. This was a huge deal because it showed that not only had she made her decision, she found her clarity, but she had wised up to his ways. We know by now that if Luke was given another opportunity to talk, then he would use that to manipulate her in some way or make her feel like he was misunderstood, victimize himself, and in some way talk his way out of it, backpedal, whatever. And she wouldn't even allow that. And so that was the moment that I think we all knew Hannah had finally rid herself of Luke. And it was wonderful to watch. It was very empowering. And yeah, buzziest moment, having a buzziest moment. It was very buzzy all around. All right, so moving on. You guys know I go in chronological order here at the morning after. And so we'll start with Peter's overnight date. I love how heading into this, it's all about, Peter really, really, really likes Hannah. He's like, do you know how much I like you? But it's, in general, Hannah's like, he's holding back. I need more from him. And it's like, okay, so you need the L word. It's like so predictable. It's just funny how I really, really, really like you, and all his actions are not enough. It's like you need one word. It's just funny how it's like, it was so clear that's what she was looking for. It's like, no pressure. Like, everything's great, but I need more. It's just funny how he can provide all the actions, and yeah, you just need that one word to just move forward. I was a little hung up on that, but in general, this was a really, really cute date. I loved how Peter talked about how in other relationships, he's felt this need to be perfect. And with Hannah, like, she has been like that with all her guys, where she seeks the imperfections. She wants to know the flaws. She doesn't judge people for that. She rewards honesty instead of punishing them for their crimes. And I love that Peter recognizes this and recognizes how he responds to that. And yeah, he finally says, I love you. They're super cute. Even that scene at the end during the credits with the blueberry throwing, they're so cute, so cute. Okay, moving on. Tyler's overnight. I'm not gonna lie, this massage scene was pretty hot. I haven't said that about many scenes on this show. I think the last time I thought a scene was this hot was maybe JoJo's season. Am I crazy? I think it was JoJo's season during that like yoga date with Chase, where I was like, ooh. And this was really on that level. It was super hot. I love how Tyler handles Hannah telling him that she doesn't want to have sex in the fantasy suite. What I find interesting, though, this stood out to me, is that she felt the need to say this on camera before even going into the overnight part. It's like she made a point of saying it on camera publicly, when, let's be honest, we know that many fantasy suites, sex is not had in them. It just ends up being two people talking and connecting. So I just thought it was interesting that it was like, this fantasy suite overnight date sex will not be had here. It sort of felt like it was for our benefit as much as his, if not more. Next morning, so cute. Tyler says, we just sat there and talked. This is love. And I wrote in my notes, this is so true. Because it's way easier to find a physical connection like she has with Tyler than it is to be able to talk with someone endlessly all night long and just want to keep talking. That's the hard thing to find. It's a lot easier to find someone you want to have sex with. So that really stood out to me. I love that. Okay, Jed's overnight date. Ooh, okay, we start to get a little sticky. The episode starts thicken. The fact that this date was with a Greek family and that there's a girl that just so happens to be interrogating Hannah about her picking process. I thought this didn't really feel like an accident. We already knew Jed was about to burst over the Luke thing, and then you have someone in front of him asking Hannah how she's going to decide and how she thinks one should know from the first look. It just doesn't feel like a coincidence. So Jed confronts Hannah about Luke. I normally have an issue with this, with anyone sort of talking about someone else and making their time with her about someone else. This didn't bother me, honestly, in this context, because it does feel like he knows Hannah well enough at this point to care about her enough to genuinely be concerned that she could end up being hurt in multiple ways by someone. And let's be honest, Luke, we know by now that Luke is you can argue about which ways, but there are subtle ways in which he is abusive. And it does feel like Jed is genuinely concerned for Hannah. It doesn't feel like he's just annoyed at Luke for no reason, especially since at this point he hasn't lived with Luke for a while. He's been waiting around for his overnight date, and before that he was waiting around for his hometown date. So for about 2 weeks now, he's not been dealing with Luke. So I thought this was interesting. I do think he went too far. And I talk about that in my Flair recap, so go read it there. Okay, moving on to Luke's overnight. Once again, it seems it's not an accident, I think, that Luke's date is the last one. I mean, I think it was the last one. I find it hard to believe that this would be had first before she had her overnight time with other guys. So basically, Luke says that she better not have been with anyone else there. And what I really love about this moment is how she says, okay. What I love about Hannah is how she processes information before just diving right in. She never just, as a knee-jerk reaction, retaliates and argues back and she doesn't flail. You can see her think about how things are making her feel and what her responses are and whether or not she agrees. You can see her wheels are turning. And I really, really like that about her, especially given, sensitive topics where you can be misunderstood. And if in the heat of the moment, if you're really emotional, you can be taken less seriously. I really like how careful and diligent she is about her responses. And then Luke at one point says, I don't want to get into being misunderstood again. And then Hannah says, but that's what you said. And I wrote in my notes, yes, girl. This is the first sign in this conversation that she shows that she has wised up. She's no longer letting herself get manipulated into thinking that it's her fault, that she misunderstood him and that he's the victim. And she doesn't let him backpedal, which is a big deal because Luke does that all the time. And that's how he gets himself out of situations. Obviously, it goes without saying that my Flair recap is about this. And so I'm not going to waste my breath or waste your time, and I'll just let you go read it there. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to the morning after. That was quite the episode. I dare say it did not disappoint, even though it was spoiled. It's amazing how, good TV is good TV, whether or not you know it's going to happen. So that's it for the morning after. Thank you for tuning in with me, and I'll see you guys here in 2 weeks where we discuss the grand finale. I meant all we don't do recaps for, so be sure to come here in 2 weeks, and we will have a lot to talk about. Okay, bye.